VirtualBox is an alternative to using VMware or where in the old days you would use virtual PC. It allows 64-bit operating systems and other things, and especially for testing 2013 and other more advanced NAV features, it's a great product because it also performs very well. So I've already downloaded the VirtualBox here. So I'll just go through the install, and it's one of those simple ones. It's just like those next. It will give you a warning here that it actually will shut down the network interface for a short second. It's not different than what Virtual PC did. It's just if you're running a live environment, you have to be careful that it actually will stop other machines to actually have access to the internet. So it's really only for production purposes. So, but I'm basically finished installing it. So it was a very, very simple process. The next thing I want to show here is actually how to install Windows 7 inside this one. So I'll create a new computer here, and I'll just call this one Windows 7. And it's based on my text automatically figured out that it was actually going to be Windows 7 down here, so that's fine. But that's important because selecting the right type down here is going to have the supporting software installed as driver inside the operating system. So if you're installing 2008 or Windows 8 or something like that one, remember to pick the right version down here of Windows. It also supports Linux and all kinds of other things in here. So. But I'll just say next, and I want a little more memory than this one, so I'll use 4 gig. You create a virtual drive, and it actually shares the VHD format that is the same as Virtual PC uses, and also Hyper-V. But I'll just use the internal format. I don't think there's much difference in speed. But I guess the internal format is the best supported. So I had a 25 gig default down here. Since I'm going to install NAV and all kinds of things in here, I'm actually going to bump this up to a little more, to 40 gigabyte in here as being my hard drive. And it will create this one. My E drive is actually, in this case, it's a solid state drive, and that's why I already configured it earlier to use as my default. We go in and say yes and create this one. Before I start the installations, one thing I'm going to do in here is actually change my amount of processors, because it's going to install Windows a lot faster if I actually give it more CPUs in here. This one is a pretty powerful computer. It's a Core i7 and is actually running at a higher speed than what it nominal is. So it's running 4.2 gigahertz, and it has 8 threads and 4 cores in here. But I'm just going to give this computer 4. I'm now ready to start my installation. The next thing I have to do is select my image, and I have a Windows 7 with Service Pack 1 in here. That's a download from TechNet from Microsoft that I have this ISO file from. So I go ahead and open that one. And then I'll just start the install in here. And there's only a few things I will need to do to actually get this fully installed. During this install process. And it's fine. I want to install it now. Until you install the VirtualBox editions in here, the mouse can be a little sluggish, especially if you're in a remote desktop environment in here. So, but I just want to see it's my 40 gig hard drive. I'll just click next, and now it's expanding the Windows files. the first percent here takes a little longer. The total process of installing Windows in here is probably going to be 6-7 minutes in total. But I'm going to remove some of this recording here. If I look at one of the reasons this computer is so fast as it is, it's running a Core i7, the 26K unlocked version, and it actually has been slightly overclocked. So it's currently on 4.2 gigahertz down here. So that's a processor speed. This one works fine also on a laptop. It just won't get this tremendously fast speed that this one is. This computer has 2 solid-state drives in it also. So it has a solid-state C drive on 64 gigabyte. It has a second solid-state drive also on 64 gigabyte. And if I go take a look at it here, I will have my C drive and my E drive is solid states, and then I have a 2 terabyte drive in here. It's a motherboard that already comes with graphic cards and 16 gig of RAM in here. So this computer cost less than $1,000 actually to buy and assemble from parts, and it's extremely powerful for running VirtualBox or any testing with the 2009 and 2013 of NAV. It now finished the first part where it actually copied all the files. It's now completing the installation here of Windows 7, and I will be able to soon type in the computer name and then install the VirtualBox additions that will make the drivers and Windows work. The really good thing about the VirtualBox is that it's completely free. It even works on multiple versions. So if you had a Linux server, you could actually also run VirtualBox, same environment as it is here. So it's now booting Windows for the first time for real after installing it. So I'll put in the username. I'll just call this one Windows 7. I have to type in a password. And a hint. It's the same password, of course. I don't need to put in a Windows key, and since it's so fast to install, I will just blow away this one when Windows actually, after a month, won't work any longer. It's all for testing anyway. I'll use the recommended setting. I'll go select Eastern time zone here. And my network is a work network, and it's now finished, and it's inside Windows 7 and it's installed. Now of course you need to run the Windows update also, but before I do anything else, I'm going to install the VirtualBox edition that makes the mouse work a lot better and seamless resizing of the screen and things like that. So I'll install what is called guest editions down here. Take a few seconds before it shows up, but I basically put in a CD in the CD-ROM drive for this VirtualBox, and then it will run the software from the CD. It's a little busy here since it's just finished installing Windows, I guess. So I want to run the VirtualBox Windows editions, and that's fine. And I'll just check this one that I want to trust it all the time, so in future updates of VirtualBox I don't have to check that I want to run it here. And that was installing the VirtualBox editions in here, so I'll go ahead and reboot. So I'm now in Windows, and of course I could choose another drive in here. I'm just going to remove that one because I don't need the VirtualBox. One of the real nice things in here is that it's completely seamless to switch between full screen and windowed mode. And like you used to with remote desktop, you actually have an option down here to attach devices and all kinds of things. So but it completely disappears during the demo. So you can't see that you're actually running a virtual environment in here. All the issues that existed with VirtualBox being able to resize, or Virtual PC being able to resize properly, it absolutely don't exist with VirtualBox. You can just drag the window, it's going to look nice. You can always go full screen and it will just completely cover your screen, so even if you connect it to a projector, it works perfectly fine in here. So you can always get back, of course, to the windowed mode, and it's running very, very fast in here. So this VirtualBox here can also be shared. So if I look at my drive here, I have in my VirtualBox folder, I have a couple of files in here, and this one is really the virtual drive, and that's where everything is in. So you can share that with other people that can set up their own hardware around it, matching maybe their laptop and so on. But it's a very, very powerful system in here, the VirtualBox, and it's completely free. It don't require anything else than you have a decent laptop that runs 64-bit OS, and then you can install 64-bit operating system and get very, very good performance.